Computer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and just like that, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, episode number 25 of the Mike Acuna podcast. First off, I'd like to greet all of the fellas, the ladies, and the non-binaries who are listening right now. Thank you so much sa pagtsatsaga nyo sa mga episodes of the Mike Acuna podcast so far. And also, I want to greet my friends from Betchai's food delivery service. God damn, they have the best. Ang sarap nung chili nila. You're not supposed to talk yet, but I'm asking you a question, but it's kind of confusing on your end. But yeah, they are located here in Sampaloc, and if you have any gatherings in the near future that would require a lot of food, from just family cravings, Betcha is extending her family's table to you. And we offer home-cooked specialties without extenders and preservatives, perfect for gatherings you wouldn't want to miss. So, ito lang hahanapin nyo sa Facebook, Betchais lang. That's Betchai, tapos may apostrophe S. Tapos it's very, very informative. Nakalagay dito, meron silang FAQ, Neil, right? Meron silang FAQ. Don't talk yet. This has got to be the most... anyway, the FAQs, for example, I'm going to show you this. It's about siomai. Right. So what are the varieties of siomai? Sa mga may hilig na kumain ng siomai, there's pork and shrimp, tapos merong beef. So tatlong variations yon. Is it ready to eat once it gets to your doorstep? Yes, it is already steamed, but you may order it frozen. Just like... I was going to make an X joke, but why? Okay, anyway. How much is it? For the pork, it's 120 a dozen. Pork and shrimp, 130 pesos a dozen. And beef is 200 a dozen. Of course, it's going to be slightly more expensive compared to the others just because it's beef. And what are the modes of payment? Meron silang BPI, BDO, and GCash. Ngayon, how do I get it? Okay, pwede tayong mag-pick up. Or you can also have it delivered via Angkas, Grab, or Lala Move. Okay, yeah. So Betchai's, God, ang daming nilang offerings. They have lasagna, they have laing, they have the chili sauce that I mentioned, which is amazing. Also, they have baked freaking sushi. Jesus Christ, they have everything. So make sure that you look up Betchai's, including you, Neil. I'm going to be checking on you after this. Betchai's. If you look at the logos, the logo on Facebook, makikita nyo nakalagay Betchai's established 2017. All right, doing everything that we can to support our fellow Filipinos in a time of uncertainty, and of course, food is never a bad business. My guest for today, I asked him how he wanted to be introduced, but he's just so modest and just such a real person. Well, he is a radio DJ at Jam 88.3. He is also a voice actor, one of the finest ones in the Philippines, mind you. And I'm proud to call him my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Neil Caronan. Hey, Neil, what's up? My God.
Thanks, Kuya Mike. What an intro. Oh my gosh.
That was a 10-seconder. That was a 10-second.
It's so hard to hear people talk about you.
I know how you feel. I know how you feel. Because I used to think that I was a person who knew how to graciously receive comments or compliments. Hindi pala. Hindi pala ako ganun. Parang ang tagal kong dinenay sa sarili ko, especially, being just like yourself. I'm sure you are familiar with this feeling na ang mga tao ay pamilyar sa'yo. You are still in that game, Pamilyar ang mga tao sa'yo, and you need to be able to get over merong mga tao kasi, and may mga kilala tayo na ganito na kapag sinabihan mo ng papuri, parang nagwa-wonder pa rin sila, do I say thank you?
Yeah.
Pag sinabi kong thank you, baka sabihin nila malaki yung ulo ko. Hindi, di ba? May mga ganun pa rin. People who have been defaulting to that mode, when really when you think about it, there's nothing wrong with saying thank you. Right?
Yeah.
So how do you handle compliments? I'm sure you get a lot of them.
Um, I'm more of like I usually just say thank you if they tell me compliments, but usually in the back of my head I have this. I think it's the perfectionist in me that usually asks, "Okay, but what did I do wrong?"
Hmm. Hmm.
But it's not
What
to
did
the
you do
detriment
wrong?
of myself. Yeah, it's not like to my detriment, but it's more like sometimes I feel like I can be caged by compliments so easily. So
Hmm.
I greatly appreciate compliments, but I adore people who criticize me and criticize me from a point of what do you call this? Care, I guess, if that makes sense. Because
It
I don't
does.
know, I'm a person who constantly just wants to keep on improving, and sometimes it's like what Jimi Hendrix said. It's like he doesn't like compliments that much. He'd
Hmm.
rather tell he'd rather people tell him what's wrong so he can work on it and be better. So
Kasi
I guess
that's
it's me just making excuses for not taking the compliment very seriously, or more like I don't know how to. I feel very uncomfortable with compliments.
well, I would take you any day compared to say a guy who pretends to be modest. Yeah, parang I
Ah,
think hindi naman, oh my God. Hindi
yeah,
naman. But in their heads, they're the fucking shit. Like
yeah.
I'm the shit. I actually deserve that. People like yourself, you know, would think twice, and it's not because you are
Mhm.
unsure of yourself. It's because you have a level head that says, "All right, don't let that get into your head. Don't let
Yeah,
that get to
yeah.
your head."
And
Right?
it's harder to get compliments. It's so much harder to get compliments from people that you're friends with, that you care for, because these people already know you, and yet they still see a good light in you. Does that make sense? It's
They know
like,
you, but
wow,
then yeah, I think that's.
they have a level of intimacy that they
Uy,
can
ang
still
swerte mo ah.
compliment.
Ang swerte mo kasi hindi lahat ng tao nakakasalamuhan ng mga ganong kaibigan. You know what I mean? Like there are friends that you keep around for purely for association because you have the same interests. You both
Yes.
you like drinking, you like driving around, you like samgipsal, whatever the fuck it is. Pero when a friend is able to step back and say, you know what, Neil? Yeah, seryoso ah, you're doing something right here. You know,
Yeah.
and
Oh my gosh.
ibang klase yun. Ibang
Yeah.
klase yun.
Yeah.
There's another thing that I'd like to share with you real quick before we move on. Gary Vaynerchuk said that it doesn't matter to him whether he receives criticism for what he does or whether he okay whether he receives criticism for what he does. Ma, can you? So, oh, thick. So it doesn't matter whether he receives criticism or praise. It's because at the end of the day, the people who give him that criticism and that praise don't know the amount of effort that it takes for him to get where
Yes.
he is. Parang,
Yes.
you don't know if it's minimal effort. You don't know if it's maximum
Mm.
effort. So at the end of the day, he's just so focused in what he does, and that's why he,
Yeah.
he has my respect.
Yeah. I
Um,
think that's why you and I are like close friends, because we like the grind. We like the hustle of working. I know you as like one person who's like, what's Kuya Mike doing now? Oh, dude, he's here right now. He's doing this. Oh,
yeah,
wait, he was in this studio? Yeah, that Kuya Mike's doing that. Oh, he's recording his podcast? What? Kuya Mike!
yeah. You gotta hustle. You get it. You get it.
Yeah.
Sa SDI pa lang, remember SDI?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you were
Of
this
course.
you were this well we were kids running around in that building and just shouting at each other whenever we have the chance. Hey, Neil! Hey,
Yes.
Kuya Mike! It was a
Yeah.
really fun vibe, and I knew right then and there that that light that you were talking about. I saw what your friends were seeing. I
Oh,
saw I saw the light in you. Okay. Now what you want to
thank you
do is
very much.
crumple that compliment, throw it away, and
Yes.
just pick it up when you're cleaning the house tomorrow. How
Yeah.
did we were talking offline. Was it yesterday when you shared with me when you shared with me that being a DJ is something that you've always wanted.
Yeah, that's true. Uh, I it's funny, but you know how like sometimes in movies there are the stereotypes of the driven kids who are like, when I'm older, I want to be doing this, I want to be doing that,
Yeah.
and that was me when I was like what, 5 or 6, hearing radio for the first time and hearing people talk behind it. I was like, wow, I want to do that. Though I didn't know what it was, I thought there were like people inside the radio just talking to me on my ears and whatever. But yeah, and I brought that along until high school, until college, and
So it never really
yeah,
left you.
yeah, no, it was just something that I've always wanted to do, and I felt like that's where I was gonna go. And I think I'm really blessed to have that kind of perspective that, oh, I know where I want to go at a very early age. So, not denying that kind of wisdom, or I think that just premonition to go into that thing, I went for it head on. And everything that I've been doing in my life has just revolved around trying to get to where I am now.
Do you think at some point that, maybe, attraction was at play? Because whatever
Oh,
you hold in your mind is going to materialize.
yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Because I think, if you have a goal and if you
Mhm.
want to do something,
Mhm.
and it's deep seated, it's not just like, oh, I want to do this tomorrow, but
Yeah.
it's like that kind of burning passion that you just want to do this thing.
Yeah.
And like you can't sleep thinking about what you're going to do when you're there, how you're going to segmentize your show, or when you're on your way to school, to work, or whatever. You just live and breathe that goal. Dude, that was me. And everything else just aligned to it. Because I think the universe where God was listening to me and he was like, you really want that? Yes, I do. Please,
Yeah.
I want to be here. And
Yeah.
very, very fortunate to have had um, people who have helped me out, people who, by a stroke of luck, I've met and have just guided me towards that goal. And I don't know, I'm here right now. It feels weird, but at the same time, it feels like a dream.
Yeah, because you really are hitting that button, that red button in the booth, and
Mm.
you're speaking alone in the booth, pre-quarantine, of course, but at the same time, you're talking to the city, the whole city.
Oh yeah, that's such a weird feeling. That's such a
Yeah,
weird feeling to know that when you push that red button, you're not just talking to yourself anymore. You're talking to thousands of people in
right.
their cars, probably listening on their phones, probably even abroad.
Yeah,
And everything you say, they will somehow remember. And it
that's right.
aids them in their day. That is such a crazy feeling to have that power, but at the same time, it's like such a humbling experience.
Yeah, it is. It is. Remember your first time in the booth?
Oh my God, yeah.
How was
I
it?
was like a little kid.
Did you
I was
like
like a little kid.
did you have any boo-boos during your first board work? By the way,
Uh,
to our listeners, that's what we call it. The DJs call it board work. It's not necessarily going on air. That's what we're doing. We're going on air, but it's called board work. Okay, so
yeah.
for Neil's first board work, was there like a memorable thing that happened? A boo-boo? Was there a cat inside that?
Yeah, there's a cat outside my house right now. And I think it's dying. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
But boo
So how was it like?
boos,
How
yeah.
did you feel? How did you feel about that first time when you went
The
on board?
first time I was in the booth, it was just jitters. Jitters. I was like slow tremors. Actually, seeing myself sitting behind the board. The mic is in front of you,
Mhm.
and then you're controlling the songs. It's like, am I really doing this? Really?
You are there
It's
now.
like,
That feeling.
yeah, yeah, and I can't believe it because I think all of my life I've just been imagining how it's gonna go, and you're
Mhm.
there, and it's funny too because The first time I ever went on board, I tried out songs first. That's how we start off in Jam. You
To
test
try
out the
out songs.
songs. Yeah, you try out the songs.
Who comes up with
For
this
an
question?
hour, you try to do what do you call this? You arrange.
Okay. Podcasting in the time of the internet. Well, yeah. Zoom era. If you might, we're experiencing a bit of a delay. It just showed on my screen your internet connection is unstable. I'm going to be editing that out. But let's go
Okay.
back to Neil. Yeah,
Yeah.
you were arranging songs. Is that that's what I last heard?
Yeah. I was arranging songs that sounded well together, and I think that's one good thing about me being in Jam is that the music there was something that I was very familiar with. Not extremely familiar because last I heard from Lambert Cruz, our program director and our music director,
Shout out to Lambert.
Jam has the most number of songs in their playlist for the whole of, I think, Southeast Asia. As far as I know.
Wow.
I think we have like 3,000 to 4,000 songs. And
already.
yeah, I know a few songs from there, a significant amount that I think I could make a really good playlist. But even me being there for a year and a half already, it's still such a mountain to climb with all of the songs. And so, first day in the booth was like that, just putting in songs, listening out, following the clock that we had.
Yeah.
And
I remember
it was
that
like, oh, wow, that looks good. Okay, that sounds good. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And that was the first week. And Lambert, I think, saw how I could handle myself with arranging songs. And he let me start talking 2 days later.
Okay.
And that was the first boo-boo on air. I was playing a song, and then I forgot to turn off the mic.
Uh-huh.
And then I remembered a song that I wanted to play. And I was like, oh, I know this guy who's going to be playing, the guy in the song. I know him personally. And I was like, Ryan!
Okay.
And I shoot back a glance on the button, and it was like, I said that on air. I said that on air. I said that on air.
Does your friend Ryan know about this happening?
No, I don't think so.
Well, he
So
will
Ryan, if you're
now.
listening,
He
yeah.
will. He'll gain wind of this. What's Ryan's last name?
Forgot his last name.
Alright. Not a
Yeah.
problem. Hindi kasi naiintindihan ko yan eh. The first time I went on air, it's not that you're scared of the microphone.
Mm.
In my case, it's not that you're scared of the microphone. I've been hosting for years, but it took a while for me to wrap my head around the fact that, oh shit, I'm gonna be talking to the city, and you know, a lot of ideas on what to say and make it sound interesting make it sound memorable. For the first time I'm going on air, doing my board work, they were just flowing in. And then pagkapindot ko, you're still listening to Home Radio 97.9, and you've got Mike on the mic. Here's the next song. That's what I said. Sabi ko, okay, even for you know, a station that was not that famous for millennial music, that was a low. That was a low for me. Oh my god! Like it's a very daunting task being a radio DJ. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After a year being in the booth and doing this, I understand why it's not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
One, there has to be so much self-management when you're on air.
What kind of
Especially
self-management is?
Because what people don't understand when it comes to our profession.
Pause.
It's hard.
What people don't understand, aka the people who say na, madali lang maging DJ, laway lang ang puhunan. Okay.
Yes.
Please proceed.
it's hard to be on air because there are so many translations of yourself that you need to filter out first. You can't just be wholly you on
Mhm.
air because there are certain parts of your personality that might not be broadcast quality. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there
The unfiltered Neil
yeah,
Caronan. Yeah.
there's a when you're going on air, there's that idea first that you have listeners.
Mm-hmm.
You have to consider what they want to hear, how
Mm-hmm.
they want to hear it, and does that fit with the kind of branding that your station has?
I get the branding, pero do we really know what people want to listen to just based on BPM and tempo and
Ah,
like
yeah.
there's just so much work that goes into it. I'm not complaining, okay? We did it, but at the same time, there is that demand not from the people who listen to us, but
Hmm.
from management and from the other DJs. Na parang there's this mold that we have, a mold of music that we have to play music around in. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, pare. So you auditioned for Jam. Were you? Did you audition as an air checker, a junior jock? Is that how it happened for you?
No, I applied for Jam as a DJ, and they got me as a DJ. There was no junior jock program at the time, so and they had an opening, so uh, I was at the right time at the right place for that moment.
Yes, I'd say you are because most of uh, most of the radio stations here in Metro Manila, at least, they would rarely, and most especially Jama, I
Mhm.
would know because I auditioned for them. I auditioned for a spot in there, man. We could have been workmates,
Eh,
but it's tough for reasons I'm not able to explain right now. But you know, being there's one thing that's undoubtedly true. Being a part of Jam 88.3, one of the longest standing radio stations in the history of the Philippines, you guys all have a genuine gift of gab. Wouldn't you say?
Uh,
Like Candy has it,
yeah,
Jobim has it, Lambert has it, even
yeah,
sorry, Steven,
yeah. Steven.
Steven. There we go.
Yeah,
Steven has it.
yeah,
They're not just personalities, and they know the radio style or the radio type of conversation.
yeah.
That's why I'd say it's a station for a good number of the listeners are purists when it comes to music.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
From how I've observed it too, and like when I got some training from the other jocks, it's different when you're in jam. And I said this on record in what do you call this? In something that I moderated, like with other student jocks.
Okay.
To be in jam, you can't just be a personality. You also have to know your music because your listeners, they know the music that they're listening to in jam. That's one of the things with jam because it's a niche station. It's
Yeah.
alternative rock
Yeah.
and indie as well. So when you have a niche station and you have niche listeners, you're gonna get people who know by the date, by the year, when a certain album was released, and when and even backup info about it. That's why I think Jam has that kind of vibe that you can't just have a gift of gab because when you mention like for instance Marilyn Manson's Portrait of of an American Family came out in 1993 but it
Uh-huh.
actually came out in 1992,
Uh-huh.
there will be someone who will be correcting you on the text line or in some way and they'll call you out for it like who is this DJ who doesn't know when Marilyn Manson's album ever came out?
You
And
were you
I
were
think
off by a digit.
by a
They're
digit.
already on your
Yeah,
neck.
yeah, but But for me, I really appreciated that about the kind of work that you need to do in jam. Maybe
Yeah.
I can't speak for everybody, but for me, I liked it so much because it made me want to check myself. Okay, am I being accurate with the things that I'm talking about? Did I do my due diligence in researching about the music?
Due
And
diligence.
and I have to ask myself, am I qualified to even talk about this right now?
It takes a lot.
So
That takes a lot
it
of
does, it
honesty.
does. And the thing about Jam 2 is like, we got if we're gonna talk about Jam, we also got to talk about NU 107
And
because
you, oh
yeah,
my
because
God.
when NU 107 left, it's not directly spoken, but
Mhm.
Jam became the spiritual successor for it, and it's not official that that's what you call us.
Yep.
But
Yep.
since NU left, there was this hole in the music sphere in the Philippines for rock music, for indie music, for local Pinoy music
Right.
that you can't find in most mainstream radio stations. And
True.
Jam had to fill that gap. And when you go to NU 107, they also had very particular personalities there. They were rock stars,
Yeah.
just
Like
very
actual
different
rock
personas.
stars. Actual rock
Yes,
stars. Yeah.
actual rock stars.
Yeah. Not the
So
not
that's the
not,
kind of
not
people that you
pop.
have to be.
Yeah. Because
No, not at all.
pop stars wanted to be rock.
Yeah.
That's what they wanted to
You know
be.
what? I imagined like Jam as the radio DJs in GTA San Andreas or like all of the GTA. Yeah. They had
Yeah.
such a fine point of personality that it was hard to imitate elsewhere. And I found that in Jam. Like, oh, you have people who are hard as nails with when they go on board. You have cool people. Just whoa, it's
Uh-huh.
hard to explain.
But yeah, was it you who told me that you would play GTA just to stay in the car and listen to the songs?
Yeah, 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 dude. That was
Oh,
me.
those are fun times, man. Like I would
Those
do the
were
same. I would do the same
yeah.
because I'm shit. I wasn't always good at PlayStation. I'm not good now. I just finished. What did I finish? I just finished Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Origins. If you haven't played it, one of the best
Mm,
ones, I'd say. And right
yeah.
now, I've been on Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain
Oof.
for the longest freaking time because it's so easy. Ang daling ano eh. Ang daling ma-alarma nung mga tao that you're, creeping around and, all
Yeah.
stealthy and shit. But
Yeah.
yeah, I tried starting The Witcher and,
Ah, beautiful game.
failed right away. Sabi ko, I'm no good at this. I'm not
Usually
no
when
good.
I tell my friends to like start playing The Witcher,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like, dude, what is The Witcher anyway? It's like I don't even know if I want to play it. It's like, okay, imagine Breath of the Wild but with boobs.
Ooh, yes, because
Yeah.
of Yennefer.
Yeah.
Because of Yennefer. Yeah.
Yennefer and everybody else there. So my guy friends are like, oh yeah? Yeah, dude. Oh yeah, I'll play it. I'll play it. It's like,
His
gotcha.
boobs.
Just boobs.
I think this is the first episode where we ever mention the word boobs. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's always a first,
We're
ladies and
13 year
gentlemen.
olds, Mike. We're 13-year-olds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, if
Oh my god, they said boobs on the podcast.
they said boobs on a podcast, children, if you're going to do a podcast in the future, yes, you'd be making the right choice because there's no censorship here. But the law is not retroactive, so please do not put yourself at peril with the law, with just me saying that. Do not quote me on that. But yeah, so it seems like
Yeah.
your voice is something that I can cut any of your limbs. I can cut any of your limbs, but if you lose your voice,
Oh, yeah. It's hard to imagine.
it's hard because aside from aside from also being a radio DJ, to all our listeners, the way it usually branches out is magkakadikit yan eh. When you say a radio DJ, when you say an events host, when you say a voice actor, right? And you also do the other two that I mentioned. Which came first? Was it the being a radio DJ? Was it being a radio DJ, or was it being an events host first, or was it voice acting first?
No, I started off as a reporter. Yeah.
Wow.
In high school, I was a reporter for Knowledge Channel for KNOW, and I was the school's student correspondent. And I think that was the first time I ever did voice work too, because you need to do voice work if you're a reporter.
Man, so you did the research and you did the voice.
For the show, I didn't do the research. I was given more of the script, and then I would read it.
Got it.
And yeah, shoot, then record me being in front of the cam, and then just memorizing the script.
Mm-hmm. Did that do a lot for your self-esteem or your confidence?
I think so. I think that's when I had the awakening that I wanted to be in media. Not necessarily entertainment, but more in media.
But right now, you're in entertainment.
Yeah. And there's just the hustle in productions, the kind of focus and concentration that you need to do. I mean, you would understand, Kuya Mike, too, because you're an events host. Before the lights even go on, there are so many things that happen.
That's true.
So much planning, so much pre-production that needs to be done, and I live and breathe for that. All of that planning, the research, the coordination, it fits in the bill.
True. So would you say that, well, it's a lot of people might think that when you look at that statement alone, it's kind of sadistic or masochistic rather. Na parang, hit me with, this is what I thrive off of. Give me pressure. Yeah. I like it. I like it here. So where do you think you got that from? Your mom or your dad? Or was it a tita or tito?
Oh no.
Where'd you get that fire from?
A lot of factors. I think one of them is because of my mom. My mom is very driven. Even now at 44, she is still doing.
Young.
Yeah,
she's young.
My mom had me when she was still in college. I'm the reason why she graduated college.
And that's the reason why Neil calls me Kuya. All our listeners, okay.
Yeah, because my mom. Just a sidetrack. This is a side note.
Yeah.
My mom failed math a lot of times.
She doesn't like
math. And then when she got knocked up, she talked to the professor. She was like, "Sir, please, pasan niyo na po ako. I'm pregnant." So, okay, sige. And then she graduated.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you would definitely get away with that back then. That's for sure. Yeah, it's one of those tricks that you pull. That's for sure.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
So, how's your mom now? Like, what does she do?
Right now she's a teacher / assessor for Tesla. She's awesome, dude.
Anong sabi niya nung naging radio DJ ka?
She was just like, just don't get killed.
Just don't get killed?
Yeah, that's it.
Don't get killed.
Dude, ever since I was younger. Yeah.
Just don't get killed.
Ever since I was younger, that's all my mom would tell me. Just don't get killed. Because she gets it that I'm very driven and very, what do you call this? Yeah, she gets it that I'm very ambitious and that I'm very driven. So she's just like, just make sure that you're safe most of the time. And don't get someone pregnant. That's one.
Yet.
And and don't fuck up your life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a lot of factors also stem from it. My mom knows this, and most people who are close to me. We had a rough childhood growing up. Our family business went bankrupt, and then we had to live.
What was your family business?
Before it was a school. my mom inherited the school from my grandmother when she passed away, and it
Gotta
went
love
bankrupt
schools.
for a while.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then we were like riches to rags, basically,
The other way
and
around.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I had a tough childhood. The neighborhood where we used to live in was very dangerous, very
Dangerous,
unsafe.
dangerous. Like kids your age but not your size would kick your ass and shit like that.
No, not just like that, but the areas where we were situated in here,
Uh-huh.
they were notorious for crime, for drugs, for
Yeah.
a lot of illegal stuff. And
Welcome to the Philippines.
the immediate area
Yeah.
was also very hostile.
Hostile. See, it's
Yeah.
either
So
yeah. Go ahead.
so growing up, you see kids who die.
Hmm.
I was in fifth grade. I had classmates who would go to class today and then you'd never see them ever again. Or
They died.
kids who would sell drugs in fifth grade, smoke at fourth grade, or stuff like that. Just really rough public school life.
They smoke. They start smoking weed in fourth grade.
Third grade, even, dude. It's the kind of environment that uh, you get to experience when you're in public school
Right.
is very, very rough in the Philippines.
Oh yeah, I can attest to
I
that. I
mean,
went to a public school. Shout
yeah,
out
yeah,
to
yeah.
Alejandro
All of the
Albert
kids who
Elementary
went
School.
to public school, you know what it's like. You know
Yeah,
what it's like to have classmates who are gang members,
true,
who you
true.
look at them funny, you'll get beaten up outside.
How did you maneuver through that? Because it's easy, especially at that age, to get sucked in. With your mom's words, like how basically was it her voice that you were hearing in your head as you were growing up, and trying to avoid all these pitfalls because it's easy to get sucked into them.
My mom knows that we had a very rough life at a certain point
Yeah,
of our lives.
right.
So we had to not just learn how to listen to our mom, but also be very independent.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to things like that, you have to learn how to read the room very early. You need to learn how to keep your mouth shut. You
Yeah,
need to learn how to make sure that you're not bringing in some conflict to your life, making
yeah,
sure that you're squared away. Because when you're in that kind of environment, and when we were at that point, you always tread the very thin line of what's acceptable and what's not, especially if you're in the lower rungs of economy. It's so easy to be sucked into the dregs of society,
the
you know?
dregs of society. Yes,
Yeah.
the thing that makes it worse, it's not what they do; it's the psychology behind why they do what they do.
Yeah,
Um,
and dude, I'm not against any of my classmates, though we had very all of us had relatively rough childhoods.
yeah,
But growing up, I'm more empathic towards them and everything that happened because a lot of them are just really striving to be better. Their families just have not the kind of means to rise up. I mean, I had classmates in fifth grade who had to stop school because they had to work at fifth grade, dude.
true,
I
true.
had I had classmates um who alam mo yung pagpag Kuya Mike?
Oh naman.
Yeah. May
Yeah,
classmate
yeah.
ako, yun yung kinakausap niya ako isang beses, parang sabi niya, "Nakatingin ka na ba ng pagpag?" Sabi, hindi, kadiri yun. No, hindi kayo, masarap kayo. Parang,
Pagpag.
yeah, tapos parang magkukwento siya sa akin na um, papasok siya ng school na nakakap kasi naubusan ng battery yung Razer nila sa bahay. So hindi pa tapos yung gupit niya. Pero syempre may school siya. So kailangan niya pumasok. Tapos nakakap lang siya buong araw kasi nahihiya siya syempre kasi hindi tapos yung buhok niya eh.
Ibang klase, no?
So, wala
Ibang
silang
klase
pambili
mga
nun. So
experience.
when you're there and when you get out of it, I think that's one of the most um, life changing experiences. Because when I was younger, knowing about my classmates who were like that, where I get to visit their houses and you can barely call it a house,
Yeah.
I have such tremendous respect for people who are just striving, trying to survive every day.
Yeah.
Man, it's so hard to be poor in this country.
Totoo.
It's so hard because you'll never know. Maybe one day you guys are eating something nice, then tomorrow someone can get shot. You or something bad can happen like this, or you have tons of debt and your children will inherit that for the rest of their lives. And I don't know. I Part of me wishes in the future that I can just go back to the kind of communities where um, I grew up in,
Mhm.
especially in the rougher times, and just help them out. Because really, it's hard. It's hard being there.
I think in the platform that you're using and what you are right now, you can definitely advocate for people to maybe do something. I don't know exactly what it is, but you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing that it's easier in this country, at least. It's easier to get sucked into the dregs instead of rising above it and transcending your environment, which is exactly what you did. If
Yeah.
kung masusunod ang teorya ng mga tao na who would look at your town, for example,
Mm.
they would take one look at your town and say, "Diyan sa lugar na yan, there is
Mm.
no one, there is no one that's going to succeed from that town." I can tell you right away. People
Oh,
can round it off just like
Kuya
that.
Mike, dude, I had one of my closest friends, and I just want to shout him out to
Yeah.
Jarius,
Hey,
Jarius
Jarius.
Gutierrez.
Hey,
Yeah, we
Jarius.
were talking about this when he visited me in the station, and we
Yeah.
were both like, because he's also his life elevated from that kind of environment as well,
Hmm. Hmm.
and we were like, dude, do you know how lucky you and I are?
Hmm.
We're like, we're the position where we're in, where you're earning so much money now, and
What
I'm in a
does
position where
what does Jarius do?
um I forgot, but he's earning a
He's your dude.
significant amount of money.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And
You don't get into
and
that when you guys get together. Yeah, just keep
yeah,
it cool,
yeah,
like the boys. Yeah, got it.
of
Understood.
course. And we're like, dude, parang naiiyak kaming dalawa noon na pinag-uusapan namin siya kasi, dude, in our situations, in our environments, it was so easy for us to do drugs, to do a life of crime, to knock someone up because we're just stupid young kids.
Yeah.
But where we are, we're so fucking lucky.
Yeah.
And we were both agreeing, it's like, how the fuck are we here, man? How the fuck did we survive that kind of shit?
Uh,
And it's
yeah.
it's it's moments like that that made us like, man, I just want to get better so I can teach the kids what not to do and what to do to like get them to a different position. Because man, so many people need help. So many people need help. And when you're given a once in a lifetime chance to be like, it's hard to say, but where I am now, given the platform I am, you're right.
Yeah.
I I just want to take advantage of like making my life right so
Hmm.
that when kids hopefully eventually look up to me,
Hmm.
they can definitely say that, oh, you know what, Kuya Neil did it right, and
Yeah.
he came from us
Yeah.
relatively because we were riches to rags.
Yeah.
I can tell them
And that,
that you can do it too. You just have to make the right decisions and you have to be careful with your life.
you're right. Living proof that you can make it if even if the situation was reversed against you, if the stacks, sorry, the odds were stacked against you. It para sa akin kasi I'm not sure if there's much of a difference when it comes to being riches to rags or just being dirt poor all your life. You're both
Mm,
starting from the same spot, from the same
yes.
square. And a lot of people become preoccupied na, kasi hindi naman ako kasing galing magsalita ni Kuya Nili or ni Kuya Mike. Hindi naman ako may makapalang mukha na kayang magsalita sa mikropono, ganito, ganyan. Hindi eh. Actually, you know, I'm a kid from Sampaloc. I'm a kid from Sampaloc, dude. Like, it's not just, you know, studying in UST. Yeah. Oh, pero ako laking Sampaloc kasi ako.
Yeah.
Kung masusunod lang yung mga nagsabi sa atin dati. I'm not sure if you've had this, but yung mga tao nagsabi sa'yo na hindi, maging walang kwenta lang yung buhay mo. Walang mangyayari sa'yo. Yung mga teachers, like you have those people. Well, I can understand now why they said that. It's because that's what they saw in their surroundings. And we were receiving their assessment of their surroundings. So I don't know. It could be, you know, the things that we consume. It could be the things that helped us. You know, it could be the things that we consume. It could be, you know, well, I'm sure it's a lot of God's grace or the universe's guidance. You can call it that. Pero I'm just happy. I mean, that's why I think that's why you are so driven, because you knew that, you know, one wrong decision and you're in that alternate truth where none of what's happening to you right now is happening.
Yeah.
Diba? Parang pwede namang hindi, pero nangyayari. It's because of the decisions that you make or have made for you and the people that you love, you know. So voice acting, how long have you been voice acting?
It would be a stretch to say almost 10 years, because I'm counting since the time I started doing the Knowledge Channel thing. But
why not?
Really getting
call a spade a spade, you know.
Probably 10 years. But if I took it seriously, I'd probably say since I started in SDI, so that's like 3 or 4 years.
4 years na
3 or 4 years.
Kasagsagan. Yun yung tinatawag na kasagsagan. Diba?
Yeah.
In 3 or 4 years, can you explain to me, let's say that there's Neil who is working a 9 to 5. There's a Neil in an alternate reality, a separate reality from this, who is working a 9 to 5 job. How crazy is Neil Caronan's life on this earth compared to that guy? Like, what are the things that separate you from a guy who is at a cubicle from 9 to 5?
I think it's that's a good question, Mike. That's a very good question.
Take your time.
I think that guy would have made very safe decisions.
Right. And
I think that's our biggest differences, because I can still imagine myself taking like a 9 to 5 job.
You can?
Most definitely. I can definitely see myself doing something like that.
What would you do? Like, what industry
I don't know.
would you like to be in?
Cubicle work, dude. Most definitely.
BPO?
I can imagine myself doing that. But I'm crazy enough to be like, yeah, but no, dude. I'll sell my soul, you know? I'll sell my soul if that
Phrase
happens.
it like that.
Yeah, I know it sounds like I can't.
It feels like it.
I can't speak for other people. That's how I feel. I feel like I'll sell my soul for that. Because I don't know. I feel like I'm always looking for something bigger to do. And if I did the 9 to 5 job, I think it would be for a different reason, to not just be safe, but maybe it would be something ramping up for something bigger, you know?
Understood.
I'd take the 9 to 5 job because I'd sell my soul just for a little, because if I needed the money, I'd do the 9 to 5.
Okay. So this would be more of a survival call.
Yes.
If you are
yes.
to, okay.
And I don't see it very negatively. It's just I am a person who always wants to do something big, and if I don't do it, I know in myself that I'll die.
You know,
And if
sorry, go
I
ahead.
don't get it out,
Uh-huh.
that's something that I've mentioned before. I don't want to end up being 50 and say that I have so many regrets.
Okay. Okay.
And I'd rather risk my life
Mm-hmm.
rather than stay on the safe and wide path.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Because I don't know, there's just this deep fucking fire in me that wants to do something big, wants to prove something to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as what you were talking about a while ago, in my head, in the back of my head, I have the voices of the people who told me I couldn't do it, and
Which
I
is
listen to them
good
from time to
motivation.
time
Mm-hmm.
when I'm at my lowest point, when I'm like, no, you can go do this.
Yeah.
You can go do this.
The bounce back.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
in my head, I'm like, no, I'll prove you wrong. I'll prove you fucking wrong. And then,
Yeah. You just go full on beast mode on
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't explain it yet. I don't have the right words to think about it yet, but when I do, I will tell you about it. But let's just say that I definitely I dream big, and it's either I go hard or I don't at all.
Can people still do that? Like, we received tough love. Being told that you can't do
Yes.
something, being told that you can't do something basically is tough love. But knowing how things are now, you have to be politically correct in what you say and be mindful of what you say.
Of course.
Can the elders, or should the time come that you are a mentor, a teacher, a guru to someone, and someone's taking your lead, do you think that can still apply? Do you think they would cut
Take
you
risks.
enough slack?
To
Right.
take risks?
Well, not to take risks. Basically, the people who told us that we can't do it were challenging us, and that lit a fire within us. But if you were to say that to someone right now, I won't say an age. It varies, right? But if you speak to a certain demographic and you say that, would it still have the same effect? What do you think? Because
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the rhetoric for that should change. It shouldn't be you can't do this because you're this. I'm more like, why aren't you doing this? Because you're this. Come from a point of seeing the greatness within another person. And then instead of telling them that they can't do this because of their barriers, tell them instead like for instance, someone who might be great at drawing,
right.
or someone who's good at art. But they say, you're never gonna make it because your situation constrains you from this.
Your environment is against you. At saka
Yeah.
walang pera dyan. Walang pera dyan
Yeah,
sa drawing. Yeah.
No, I would be like, no, dude, do you not see the kind of work that you are doing?
Yeah.
How old are you? If depending on what age they are, or depending on the level of work that they do and the quality of the work, but they don't believe in it, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing, dude? You're wasting your talent. If you don't do this, you'll never know in the future if you're gonna make it or not. But you're the only person who can tell yourself or who can find out whether or not that's gonna happen. If you do the work, it can or cannot happen.
Yep.
But you just gotta risk it, because by the end of the day, what did Charles Bukowski say? Don't try, diba? Parang do it.
Yeah.
Like Yoda as well. There is no try. Just I don't know. I'm botching up the thing, but like, just do the thing, dude.
It's only
Put in
natural
the
for a
work.
DJ to do that.
Yeah, put in the work, and if it fails, learn from it.
Yeah.
And go for and try something else. If you're not good at it, try something else.
Right.
I'm more of like, if it comes to tough love, it's always building up the person in a positive way.
Yeah.
Making them realize the kind of qualities that they have within them.
Okay.
You know? And then telling them the potential that they have, the kind of impact that they could be doing for the environment that they have. And telling them that, hey, if you're capable of doing this, dude, you know, it's kind of like your responsibility for yourself to try out and figure out who you are and figure out whether or not that thing you want to really do is really for you. Don't listen to me, but look at what you can do. You know, I don't know if I'm even making sense, but
yes, you are. Yes, you are. Because you know why? I would always, I was, at least in my head, I would always play this dialogue between me and, for example, let's say it's my father, right? And he would tell me na, gusto mong maging, kasi nung bata ka, syempre gusto mong maging artista. Ano pa ba? Kasi that's the only platform where you can sing, dance, and act, right?
Oh yeah.
And I have, back then I used to dance, so I used to have 2 out of 3, right? I believed in myself na parang, shoot, I'm gonna freaking make this, man. Pipila ako sa ABS-CBN. I used to do that when I was like in my teenage years. Pero sinabi, at some point, sinabi niya, tama na yan, tigil mo na yan. Bakit? Wala hindi naman lahat ng tao na mahilig mahilig sa ginagawa niya ay ibabalik yung pagmamahal ng trabaho niya, right? Pero like, I think the thing that made us compensate for whatever losses we have and landed us where we are is because we wanted it fucking bad enough.
Hell yeah. Hell the fuck yeah.
Yeah, we wanted it bad enough.
And Kuya Mike, even if like your dad has a point, that's true. Not everyone who wants to get into the business will make it into the business. But you're never gonna find out whether or not you are fitting in there if you don't try.
Yeah.
Right?
You said it, my friend.
And
you said it.
Would you rather in the back of your mind have that voice that tells you that, you know what? Maybe you could have made it when you never tried.
Yeah.
That is gonna bug you forever, dude.
It's gonna mess with your mind, for sure.
You're gonna be like 60 or 65 and say, you know what? In my 20s, I should have tried it at least just once. You know? But now, will you wait for time to erode your options and your opportunities? While you have the capacity, go for it and do it.
For sure.
Because it's life or death, man. And not just like life or death in a literal sense. You'll die inside.
Yep. Death of the mind.
Dude, do you want to be like a zombie just walking around telling yourself, oh, you know what? I could have been this. Oh, you know what? I could have been this.
Yeah.
I would rather take a slap in the face from the biggest corporation to tell me, sorry, but you're not that talented.
Yeah.
Like, whatever training you do, you are never going to be that good.
Corporate.
To be at that level.
Yeah.
I would rather take that rejection.
Yep. Yeah.
And say, sorry, man, you're not that good.
Yeah.
As opposed to never trying and never putting your back into it and just giving up on it.
That's right.
And the idea that too is like, not everyone has that privilege. I get that. Not everyone is in the kind of position that you, me, my friend has. The kind of opportunity to be somewhere better.
To thrive,
But
yes.
To
be at a place where
you have
thriving.
that opportunity, right? Do you stop or do you never take it? Do you doubt yourself at that moment and say, oh, you know what? Maybe it's not for me. When it's right there in your face, right?
Yeah.
You take the fucking chance, bro.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
if you fall,
you know, I like that you're becoming really passionate about this. I can tell you're getting really worked up. I love it.
Oh my God, yeah.
Um, and the worst thing about people who semi make it, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I mean, at least I can say that I've had a taste of that life. I
Hmm.
didn't want to stay in that space. I don't know. Like maybe I'm ADHD. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pero the people who have seemed to accomplish less in the same space as we are. They would
Hmm.
run around, they'd be doing something else, of course, and they'd be running with their new set of friends, and they'd be telling, pag dumaan sila ng ABS-CBN, o pag dumaan sila ng GMA, pag dumaan sila ng PTV4,
Yeah.
dati alam mo, pumipila ako dyan eh. Kasi, oo nga eh, nakita ko nga sila Ann Curtis eh. Nakita ko yung, like, but at the end of the day, even if my friend was telling me that, there would be a nagging question in my head that I may or may not ask, depending on kung gaano ako ka-confident or kung gaano ako komportable sa kaibigan ko na yun na nagkukwento. Pero the burning question would be, why didn't you go for it? Like, what made
Yeah.
you stop? Why did you stop? Right?
Yeah.
And the mas nakakainis pa ron is the reason would be, kasi I have to provide for my family eh. Kasi well, there's nothing wrong with that, especially if there's an urgency or, there's an emergency in the family, someone needs to be attended to real quick and you need funds for that. That's perfectly understandable.
Of
But
course.
if your family is just, they're perfectly fine. They're perfectly healthy. But if they are just in opposition of what you want and that's enough for you to quit, my question is, bro, like what else are you gonna go for in life? What is gonna light you up? What is gonna set you on another path? What is
Oh my God, yeah.
other thing that you're gonna be passionate about and you're gonna be doing it for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And Kuya Mike, diba, the thing about that is, I think what a lot of people don't know and don't experience is that kind of thrill and the kind of excitement that you get when you do try, you know?
It gives you it like almost literally gives you a hard on.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Diba?
Oh yeah.
Diba? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. For some people, okay, let's not forget the spectrum that of or the scope that we're looking at of the people who have gotten into this business or that your business
Mm.
rather of being in broadcasting. Some of them, fame floats their boat. Freebies floats their boat.
Yeah.
Both float their boat. But there are some people whom I know who actually have a genuine love for broadcasting and they have freaking microphones tattooed on them. Hello,
Oh,
Alex
yeah.
C. Yeah, hello, Alex C. Yeah. So she. Yeah, I worked with her when I was still working back at FM1. 875, right? 875 FM1. Magkatabi lang tayo eh. Kayo yung kasunod namin on the radio
Yeah.
frequency, right? But we didn't have any commercials, so just flexing. I'm kidding. Oh my god. It didn't bother you. Didn't even flinch, my guy. That's how good Jam is. That's how fucking good Jam is. But Alex, she was really passionate about broadcasting and it's been her whole life. She's now with Q105. Have you listened to them? I haven't been out a lot. I haven't been in the car a lot. That's why.
I think I got to hear them like last week because we still have a radio at home and we listen to different radio stations.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Why do you listen?
Oh, dude, Kuya Mike, I want to hear what other people are doing.
Okay.
And if I hear someone great, my God, I want to do what they're doing. You know?
Right.
There are people in FM1. Dude, in FM1, there are radio DJs there that when I hear them doing their spiels, it's like, holy shit, that was smooth, bro.
Yep.
And I was like, I need to do that with my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or even when I hear my coworkers,
right,
when they're doing their stuff, like for instance, Jobim, or when Candy does it, my God, it's like it's a different way of doing things completely. And like for instance, Jobim just says stuff on the fly, and you're like, how the fuck do you know that thing? But that is so fucking interesting. And then
Practice.
when you have like Candy who goes on air, there's like that's so much attitude. She's so cool. And it's like that's just Candy being Candy,
Yep.
you know? And
Smeltering.
yeah, and when you hear like for instance even Steven is just like, man, I want to be that dude's friend.
Yeah.
That's just how the affect that they have is so amazing. And
Yeah.
it's just ah, I'm
I was
I'm
going to
not
ask you about that. You,
yeah.
when would you say that you're the newest addition so far to Jam?
Technically I'm not the newest.
Okay.
I am the youngest in the radio industry because the person who got hired before me, she's
Damn.
been in the radio for I think 2 or 3 years.
Hold on. Did
I
you say
think
that
in radio.
you're the youngest in radio right now?
No, no.
Radio
I'm the
industry?
youngest in the industry in our pool.
Oh, okay. Okay. Whew. All
Okay,
right.
yeah.
I was gonna start
Sorry, my
calling
bad.
you. I was gonna start calling you Wonder Boy. That were true. Wonder
Yeah.
Boy. Yeah, man.
But yeah, it's so nice to hear people doing their thing and you're in the same industry. And I don't know, I don't feel threatened by them. More like, man, I wish I knew what they knew so I could do it myself.
Yeah.
And I just want to learn from them. Dude, I work with Candy, Steven, and Jobim
Hmm.
from Mondays to Thursdays on our show, the morning show, Mondays
The
to
mo-
Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 10:30.
Do it. Do
Plug,
it one
of
more time.
course.
Do it one more time. This is
Yeah.
one more time.
We're on the morning show.
Morning show.
It's from
Morning show.
Mondays to Thursdays, 10
Monday to
o'clock to 10:30 a.m. on air and online. And
Ah.
getting to work with them, I just observe like how they do their stuff. And it's just amazing. Getting to hear them talk, getting to see how they handle themselves. It's like, it's so tight, it's so clear, they're so natural. And for me, that's one of my biggest struggles. You know, like when you're in front of the mic, dude, 30% of your or 40% of your personality doesn't come out. And usually that 30 or 40% of your personality is the most interesting thing about you.
That's true.
You know
That's
what I
true.
mean?
You know,
Yeah.
I've spoken to a couple of people in the podcast industry right now. They are starting up their own podcasts. You know why? They used to be on radio. They used to be on radio, and you know, they said there's more than the limited talk time. It's this persona, that real, that part of that genuine part of you that wants to speak out about things that people should be talked about. Not because you want to shove it down their throats. It's because it's something that really piques your interest. You know what I mean? But in short,
Yeah.
I agree with that totally. Sometimes it's not just 30 or 40. Sometimes it's 80% of you.
Oh, that's true.
Like it's
That's
80%
true.
of you. Shit. Like I gotta put on this face. I gotta put on this voice when I talk on the radio. Pero like with Sina Jabim, Candy, and Steven, having done what they've been doing for how long they've been doing it, were they more of when you entered that fold, right? Was it more of like, okay, welcome to the fold, or was it more of like a neophyte out of initiation, or like you said that you do most of the research in that show, the morning
Yeah.
morning show.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
morning show.
The
Yeah.
morning, though, sorry, the morning show. How could I fuck that
Yeah.
up? Morning show from 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. every
Yes. Mondays to Thursdays, sir.
Mondays to Thursdays, ladies and gentlemen. These people do not get a day off. Well, they do get Friday to Sunday off. Yeah. So yeah. So you do most of the research. So does it feel like that, like the neophyte out of initiation, up to this point?
I think, if we use the term neophyte, I think it would have a negative connotation, but more of I want to see it as I'm entering their tribe. Do you know what I mean? And
Right.
I'm the newest in the tribe. I don't know how to move yet. I don't know. I don't have the same experience, the
Yeah.
same know-how that they have, and I
Yeah.
have to learn from them, and I need to be part of that group.
Right.
So part of it is um, something unavoidable wherever you go.
Hmm.
You need to prove yourself to the people who you're going to work with. You need to prove that one, you're trustworthy, that you're capable, and you're reliable,
Yep.
and that you can do your job. And I think me being the runt, you know, of the station,
Yeah,
I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I am the rookie in the station. I have so
The
much to learn,
rookie. Yeah.
and
But also at the
I
same time,
think it's
you have the most potential when you think about it that way.
I would think so. I would think so because
I know
I
so.
am still I'm still in the mold, you know. I'm not
Right.
fully formed.
So
And
you get to sit around them, sit with them around the bonfire, but you don't know the rituals, you don't know the dances of the tribe yet,
yes.
right? Okay,
Yes.
so someone's got to
And
walk you through it.
I'm definitely fine with um doing the research, knowing how to move things, how to talk still.
Mhm.
I until this day, I get pointers from Candy, from Jobim, and they're generous towards it. They're like, Neil, um, make sure next time, like when you talk, you do this, or cut this out when you're talking, or try to do this when you're talking.
What's the best
And
lesson you've learned out of the
yeah,
three of them? It could be
yeah,
anything.
when you're in this conversation, don't be afraid to jump in. You
Uh-huh.
know, certain things, small things, and me understanding my position in our whole hierarchy. I'm fine with it. I'd rather grind and work towards the kind of seniority that we have or the kind of position that they have
Hmm.
because I want to get there and earn it. You know, I don't want to just be there like, hey, you're a new hire. Welcome to the group. You're like, no. That's what a lot of people misunderstand. Just because you're hired doesn't mean you're part of it. You know,
Doesn't mean that you can party. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can
yeah,
relax. Yeah.
yeah. You have to earn your place. My mentor, and this is the mentor who's just slapped me with the best kind of truth
Hmm.
for everything that I'm doing, and still the person that I talk to until now, Miss Pinky Aceron, who's the voice of Globe. Yeah,
Hi, Miss Pinky.
so she was
Miss Pinky, how's it on?
she was
Hello.
she was my teacher in UP in for broadcasting.
Excuse
And
me.
she
Did it?
gave me that one advice that I will never ever forget.
What is it?
And it was to earn your stripes.
Earn your stripes.
Earn your stripes. Because, man, just because you're there, you can't take it for granted. You can't be all like, I can't make the mistake that I'm in my dream job
Mhm.
and then fuck it up because I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I made it. You know?
Yeah.
No, dude.
And
That's half the battle.
you
That's not
are
even half of it.
understood. You are not just saying this to scare the listeners who might want to be DJs, because this is actually
No.
part of being a DJ. You know, everyone that you've been with have had to earn their stripes.
Yeah, that's
And
true. And
it's an expectation. It's an
yeah,
unspoken expectation among people in this industry who do
Yeah.
who specifically do radio broadcasting.
yeah, and I would even extend it to anything that you're doing. You know, you. It's hard to think that just because you have the privilege, you have the right
Right,
to
right,
do it.
right.
No. Mom Pinky also said, you know, trust the process.
She's
And-
just dropping truth
Yeah,
bombs,
dude.
man.
And it was the right kind of lesson that I had to hear at the right time at the right place. Cause it was like, no, dude, you're very young. There is a lot for you to learn. There is,
sure.
and even when you're older, there is still a lot of stuff that you have to learn.
Stay a student to the game, man. Stay a student.
Always. And
Always.
I always have that perspective. And going back to like when we started the episode, I feel like I have so much to learn. And as knowing and accepting that fate, I'm not concerned about whether or not I make it to the end, because I'm enjoying the grind, the struggle, the process itself. And I'm learning so much through it that when I'm at that goal already, when I reach it, I'm more of like, wow, I appreciate what I went through more than the goal itself. Because when you're at that goal already, when I started in Jam, that was also the smallest, that was the biggest I've ever felt, but also the smallest I've ever felt.
True.
Because it was such a stark realization that you're here now.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
That's, you know what? I totally agree with that. Men are natural hunters, and if you are to translate that to a trait or to a character that ideally men should have, right? Well, actually, to be politically correct, women should have this too. It's an ideal trait
just have
to have.
Different rites of passage.
That's right. It reminds me of a book that I read by Tim Grover. Do you know the guy? Tim Grover. Yeah, he's the guy who trained Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. I used to play his audiobooks all the time when I was on the road doing events pre-quarantine. Yeah. So he said, basically, I can't go back to what he said, but he said something along the lines of the scariest guy is one who is addicted to the process. You may not like the process, but you're addicted to it because you are obsessed. If you're addicted to the process, you're obsessed with the end result. And that is a hard guy to beat. And that guy would always say, okay, next.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. My God. There's so many things that when I got to being in Jam, I valued more the lessons that I learned to get there than being in Jam.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And,
it's easy to get used to. It's easy to get used to any new environment, no matter how how far-fetched you may think it is. Especially if you're looking at a point of view, na parang, I used to only dream of this, and now I'm here. It's easy to get lost in that. And
exactly.
Yeah, and much more yung fuel, the fire that's burning within you. It's easy to lose.
And I think that's like one reason too why I don't know. I feel weird saying this, but I'm not in it for the fame of being on radio.
Why is it weird for you? Why is it weird you saying that?
Because I feel like I know a lot of people who are in the industry who are there to get their name out. That's their end goal. And I don't share the same values as them.
All right.
I value more like what a great mentor told me, Sir Brian Ligsay, who is someone we both know.
Yes, Direct Brian Ligsay. I also had a great conversation with him in the previous episodes. I think it was either episode 8 or 10. Might want to check that out as well. He is a great voice actor and an even not an even better, but he's an awesome voice director. So you might want to listen to that episode too. What did Direct Brian share with you? Because he was a DJ too.
He was, and he was like, Neil, make sure that whenever you leave the booth, you gave something meaningful to your listeners.
Holy shit! He never told me that.
Yeah, Kuya Mike, you know how hard it is to give someone meaningful discussion on air?
I can imagine how that is.
Because it's so easy to go to more salacious topics. It's
Salacious.
something that's very, what do you call this? Very,
Intrigue provoking.
yeah,
Yeah.
more sensual things that
Yeah.
tickle people's fancies.
Oh.
But by the end of the day, my personal goal is to tell my listeners something that makes them think the whole day, or add something valuable to them listening to me.
True.
You know,
True.
and I don't know. Maybe it's my education in UP, because I also had like great teachers and mentors who were all broadcasters in their own way.
Wow.
in the university, and it was definitely something that they taught, that make sure that when people listen to you, to whatever it is that you say, it provides them value. You know,
A really good goal to have. That's a really good goal to have.
It's hard to say something meaningful. It's hard to say something nuanced. It's hard to talk about hard topics. But if it calls for it, should you go the easy way out and do something that is just going to pander to the general public, or find a voice find your voice, more importantly,
Right.
and go against the grain, not for the sake of going against the grain, but because there's something that you understand and that you feel is necessary for you to say.
That's
That
right.
if you don't say it, it will cause other people harm. You know?
In the long run, yeah, for sure.
In the long run. And
Right,
that's
right.
my perspective all the time. And it's hard to translate in radio. Definitely to have such quick skills in thinking, to have everything you say be that way,
Yeah.
because it's a struggle for me even until now, that when I go on board, when we go online, to say the things in my head. When we finish the broadcast, it's usually, shit, I should have fucking said that. That would have made more fucking sense.
You
Now
get
I
those.
can't fucking say it. Yeah.
Those, yeah.
And
Because-
I wish, I wish I could, my wish is to make every time that I go on air, people can relate to it in a good way. People can find that, oh, you know what? Because Neil brought this up, clarified something for me.
Right.
And I feel like that builds up more credibility, a better repute, and generally it makes me feel like I did my job right. I'm
For sure.
more of, if I did my job right, then I can sleep tonight.
That's
rather
right.
than, wow, I have so many followers, or wow, I got so much more likes today. I feel like it would be, for me, I can't speak for everyone, but I personally don't find the value in that.
You don't give a shit about
I've
that.
gone on to say, yeah, more like I don't find it that important. I feel like there are so much more important things than that. To me,
Yeah.
to me, I think there's so much more important things than that. Which
Yeah.
is, I've gotten so much flack for this before, from friends, from coworkers. Na, Neil, you should definitely be working on your social media. And I think you've also told me that.
Have I?
You know, I think so, but
I think
you know,
I think that was when we were talking about hosting events and just maximizing your visibility on social media. But it's radio is a totally different arena. I would never ever tamper with that. Yeah.
But
That's
I'm
your
more
realm
like,
right there.
yeah, I'm more like, I'm okay if people don't know me, as long as I gave them something valuable.
Because
You know,
it's not important because them knowing you is such a one-way street, and one-way streets do not flourish. You know what I mean? As opposed to, for example, I have 10,000 followers. Okay, you can follow me. You can buy the shit that I'm promoting online on Instagram, whatever. But real connections, like listeners who turn into your friends, and
Yes.
you may or may not see each other for the duration of that friendship. But the thing is, you have something real. You share something real with this person, and I think that's
Yeah.
if that's 10 people, I don't give a shit. I'll take those are my 10 people. Right?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be
Yes.
10,000. Yeah. Understood.
Yeah. And I don't want to play the smoke and mirrors. I don't have time for that. I don't have time to um act a certain way for people, post a certain way for people. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. You can't find that here. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to make. And I feel like this isn't something that you can contest for me to do because
Yeah.
I feel like this is what I was made for.
Yeah.
And I just want to cut the fat and just connect to people. Give them something deep, something important,
In a fun way. Because it's
in a
music.
fun way.
In a fun way.
I have a tendency to be very, very serious. So,
I appreciate that about you because a lot of yung mga kaidaran mo, for example, how far apart are we? I'm 36. You're
you're 36, I'm 23.
23. That's 13.
13 years?
13.
13
Yeah.
years.
14 in a few days. But just like transcending, like we were talking about earlier about transcending your environment, it's important that you stay mindful of the things that you've grown into.
Yeah.
Not just because and not be as the typical 23-year-old guy who is sex crazed, drinking every
Mm,
night. I mean,
yeah.
you got good grades. Okay, I'll give you that. But shit, what is driving you? At the end of and at the end of it all, like when I strip everything away from you, what is left? How were your
Mm,
morals? How was your moral compass? How is your virtues, your values? Like what makes you a standalone human being, and what can people count on you for? So that's where your being a radio DJ shines out or stands out, is because people count on you for content. And I'm really glad that you have your head in the right basket in a way that I'm not gonna bullshit you.
mm,
There are actually some things that I wanted to say, but it's either I forgot to say it or I can't say it because I'm on this platform. I'm on the radio. But
mm,
if it were a different scenario, oh man, I'd give you so much more value. And
mm.
the radio is a very powerful medium because you can't cover your ears. Cover your
Yeah.
ears, right?
Yeah.
Can't cover your ears. Um, Man, sorry,
I don't know.
I had to take a moment. I had to take a moment and digest all of that. That
Yeah.
felt good. That felt good. Because
Yeah.
when you're surrounded by a lot of people who are in it for different driving or different intentions. Let's say intentions.
Yeah.
I'm in radio because of this. I'm in radio because of that. Your way of thinking doesn't even start like that. It says
Yes. Yes.
I've taken care of this for the longest time. I've built my fucking self to
Mm.
get here. And what am I gonna do here?
Yes.
I'm not gonna be like you guys. I'm gonna be me.
Yes. Yes. And I don't know. There was this quote from someone that I don't remember. It's a common quote. It's like, "Youth is wasted with the young."
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You're just
and
wasted
I don't
on
want to be
the
part of.
young. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to be part of that demographic where people can say that I wasted my youth. You know,
Yeah.
I I people would usually categorize me as very boring because I don't drink, I don't party, I detest doing all of those things.
The test.
I'd rather go. Yes.
The test is
Yes.
okay. All right. All right.
Detest is a strong word, but I definitely feel that way towards it.
Okay.
If I would drink just like once a month, maybe once in 2 months,
Yeah. Okay.
and then because I feel like there's so much more things I have to do. There are so many more things that I found things that I enjoy better
Right. Right.
than being there. So it's not really I'm not against people who do it. I understand that we all have our different tastes,
Yep.
but I found my niche very early,
Mhm.
which is to just work, to grind, to build up what I want to do in the future and keep working at it. And I enjoy working so much towards my goals that I feel like if I'm very careful too with the people that I bring into my life,
Yeah.
because the last thing you want, especially if you're given an opportunity like this, is to squander it by doing um, questionable stuff or doing wasting
Incrim-
your time.
Incriminating
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
incriminating stuff.
Yeah.
At the same time, to bringing in people who will derail you from your goals. You know,
Oh, you'd find a lot of
um,
those in the world. Yep. You'd find a
oh
lot
my
of them
gosh,
in the
yeah,
world.
and dude, I was listening to Kevin Hart and Joe Rogan's podcast, and Kevin Hart was talking about like meeting people who are like-minded, who are like-minded
Yeah.
from him,
Mm.
and he was like, I don't feel bad, or I don't feel threatened when I meet people who are on the same path as me, who are typically boring, who like
Mhm.
the grind, who like the work, who
Mhm.
want to go for the goals. I would rather just sit down with him and brainstorm and
Yeah.
then figure out where to go,
That's how you
what to
make
do. What did you
shit
do here?
happen. Yeah. That's how you make it
Yes,
happen. Yeah.
yes, and yeah, and it's like I want to go there, and I want to go there the best way I can because I have such a long list of plans that I'm already doing now. And I'm like, if you're not on board, sorry, man, I cannot be friends with you. I'd be your acquaintance, yes, but sorry,
You keep them
limited
at a
seating.
distance. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because
Got it.
you want to be careful. Di ba parang, have you met people who are like that, Kuya Mike?
Oh
Like,
yeah. A lot of them in
yeah,
my life,
they say
and
they're your friends. You know, they say they're your friends, but they're like,
and they say that they love you. I'm not
oh,
talking about a girlfriend, okay? And these are people
oh
who,
yeah,
yeah, you're accomplishing so much, and I want to be there for you all the time. Yeah, yeah, like whatever you
mm,
do, I'm 100% beside you and behind you and in front of you, and then you just don't see, there's it brings you to a space in your mind where you have to wonder, like, if I'm the shit in your life, right? If you adore me so much, if I'm that much of a driving force in your life, why are you not changing anything?
mm,
'Di ba?
yeah,
Na parang
yeah,
it reminds me a lot, like, in the conversations that I've had with Direct
mm,
Brian Ligsay. He's that kind of person. Like, he's past it. He is past the point of telling people now, okay, if I inspire you so much, why are you not, why don't I see the effect? He's
mm,
past questioning people of why that
yeah,
is, and he just has developed
mhm,
this gut feel of saying, nah, okay, let me work with you. All right, you say you want to do better. All right.
mm,
Not getting better. Not getting better. Now, the question for you, if you were Direct Brian, is: do I tell him? Do I impart my experience to lift him up?
mm,
Um, kapag kapag nagpapakita yung tao ng effort, sige, bakit hindi? Pag alam mong genuine yung effort, pero pag alam pabanjing-banjing lang, bakit pa, di ba? Para
Oh
kayo,
yeah.
di ba? Wala eh. Wala nang patutunguhan yung magkasayang ka lang ng oras. Tapos, most of all, you are gonna build some sort of a weird dependency. That person's gonna build a dependency towards you. So parang, fuck, man, like, you don't need worms. You know, you said
what was that Bible verse, dude? Like, parang never cast your pearls to swine.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard that just 3 days
Yeah,
ago.
it's the idea that any goodwill that you will do, any good thing that you might be doing, if you say it to the wrong person, they'll just trample on it. You know?
You are right.
And it's hard to find people who are genuine enough to one, criticize you, actually observe what you're doing, and see that, oh, you know what, he's actually grinding, he's actually trying his best to improve himself or herself. And
that's right.
Often than not, I think one of the perks of this industry is also it's one of its back it's a double-edged sword. You really get to see what people are like. Like, you see how abusive some people can be.
Yep.
You see how cutthroat some people can be.
Yeah.
Our industry is one of the most cutthroat businesses there is.
Amen.
It's hard to be on top, and it's hard to even get somewhere. So you really need people who want to.
Period. Yeah.
It's so hard. So you definitely meet people who will try to derail you, and usually it's just the best thing in the world when you find people who are like-minded from you. One of the dudes who I talked to, I can't say he's fully my mentor, but he's definitely a guy that I can go to when I have problems. Stan C from Wave.
Oh, Stanley C. Yeah.
Yes. He's such a he's like a big brother when he dishes out some truth to me too.
Sorry, is he a jam now?
He's in Wave. He's in Wave
right now. Okay, all right.
Yeah, he's in Wave.
Trying to
and he was
that for the listeners. All right.
Yeah, he was talking to me about like how lucky he was that he found a tribe for himself. A tribe of people who he can talk to when it comes to issues in his career.
Yep.
People he can just rant about too.
Yep.
And people who genuinely feel like they have his best interests. They have his best interests in mind when talking to him and doing certain things.
So now we're talking about the importance of finding not just a mentor, which is equally as important as finding your tribe.
Yeah, finding your tribe. You have to find your tribe because being alone in this industry is very, very hard. And even in life in general, it's hard to live alone. There are definitely certain things that you need help with. And finding people who can help you. Yeah, finding people who can definitely help you. One way or another is a blessing in itself. Because one saying that I always tell myself is that I'd rather be alone than be with bad company.
Definitely. Those who suck the energy from you.
Yeah, the energy vampires, people who fake friend you, they tell you, bro, man, kamusta ka na, man? I'm always here for you, bro. And be like, you were never fucking there for me. You just like the fact that you can tell me that you're there for me. So shut the fuck up and, shove your fucking bro up your fucking ass.
Just because you're a DJ now? Like, do people do that because they put such a premium on someone being a radio DJ, especially someone that they know. We obviously keep a level head. We never let it, get to our head. Pero they put such a premium on it na parang, parang puta, ba't may out of the blue nangungumusta to? Nangyari yun sa'yo?
Oh, there are, and there are even places and like communities that when they introduce me, they're like, "Oi, si Mr. DJ, oh, Mr. DJ." It's like,
yeah. Just fucking hate that.
dude,
Just
I
hate
didn't meet you that way. I
that.
didn't. All of a sudden, you find that you're. I find that you're giving me attention when before you could not be bothered by me. You
Yeah.
would definitely ignore me before because I was like some nobody, and now you're like, "Oi, bro, man, missed you so much, man."
Opo.
Yeah. Tangina mo, di ba? Tangina, di ba?
Oh my
Puta,
god.
sobrang,
Yes.
sobrang bobo nung ganon. Na parang, sa tingin mo di ko ba nakikita, sa tingin mo ba bobo ako na hindi ko nakikita yung ginagawa mo? Tangina ka.
Hindi kasi pare, yeah, alam mo, kaya nila iniisip yun, kaya nila ginagawa yun. Siguro, ito teorya ko lang din ha, kasi hindi naman ako science eh. Hindi ko alam kung, hindi rin ako psychic. Pero ginagawa nila yan kasi syempre, iniisip nila na ganong klaseng atensyon ang kailangan mo, they're pandering to you, bro. They're pandering to you. So, parang, okay, yeah, you know what? Let me be the supportive fucking alaskador friend na cool pa rin because, you know, I can't, you know, stoop too low because Neil is here, the radio DJ is here. So I'm gonna, parang, it almost feels like they're mocking you. Doesn't it?
Yeah. Dude, and you can tell.
Diba?
Yeah, diba? And you can tell when they're being genuine towards you.
Totoo.
You can tell when they're like, "Whoa, guys, this is Neil pala. Guys, try to listen to him. He's actually a DJ."
Yep.
But when you go like, "Uy, guys, na DJ to. Putang ina, bro."
Oh, diba? There's to all our listeners too, you know, you might think of a friend of yours who is genuine and you might think of the fake one that you have, and those are the differences between them. There's a certain structure that genuine people have, and there's a certain style that fake people take on.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You know, parang diba?
It's heightened even more when you're in a position. You can see people just who are trying to just pander towards you and trying to get in your good graces. And there are people who are just like, "Uy, dude, musta ka? Parang kita busy ka ngayon ah. Okay ka lang ba? Musta yung work?"
Yeah.
Diba? Parang that's so different from, "Bro, wow, big time ka na ha. Putangina. Putangina mo, bro."
What's your mom's name?
Grace.
Hi, Tita Grace.
You raised me well, Mom.
Well, he's a cursing son of a bitch, but he is a good man. At the end of the day, he is a good man. So you talked about a long list of the things that you wanted to accomplish next. If we were to zoom out of that list, like what goals are you trying to accomplish? What's next for Neil from here, being a radio DJ at Jam 88.3?
I think one is to be a good radio DJ.
All right. You don't feel like you're a good DJ right now?
I think I'm getting there, but I want to be good, and I want to be a better radio DJ, and I want to be, hopefully in the future, be the best. But I also want to start writing because that's what I was used to in school. We were trained to be more of the people in the back. The people who write, produce, direct the shows. So I definitely want to try my hand doing that.
Even if it means moving away from the limelight eventually.
Most definitely.
Okay.
Because I feel like people will recognize my work better.
Oh, definitely.
If when I'm not on there, you know, when I'm not in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to start doing that one. I have a podcast coming out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What's it going to be about?
It's a mix of, it's mainly an interview podcast.
Interview podcast. Sounds familiar.
It's a oh yeah. I wonder which one, Kuya Mike.
Yeah. No, pero,
Yeah.
what kind of is there a particular focus when it comes to the type of guests that you're gonna have on your podcast when it comes out?
Yeah. I hope I can get like some of the industry's greatest
Uh-huh.
and talk to them about their path, their journey, and how they came there. More of like a focus from more of a focus on the wisdom that they have
Yep.
and humanizing these great figures in our industry
Mhm.
and kind of like in a way documenting their history and how they came to be, you
Because
know?
yes, I fully understand. No, I fully appreciate what you're trying to do because a lot of people want to have these conversations with mentors and seniors and people with tenure and people who are successful just because they want the gems, but
Mm,
but more than that, more than the hack, right?
mm,
More than the hack and the methods that they apply, I think it's all also just as important to know the struggles that they've been through,
yes,
the
yes.
things that that they went through.
Because it
um
goes back to what I think when Mike we were talking about a while ago.
mhm.
When you see that your heroes are just like you, when you realize that they eat the same thing, well, probably not the same thing, but they eat, sleep, and shit like you,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Eat rice like
you'll
you.
be yeah, you'll be encouraged to pursue things even more.
Definitely.
You
I
know,
mean, it's a good form
when
of disenchantment because
exactly,
yeah, because you're making things possible for yourself.
yeah, it gives people in my ultimate goal is for someone somewhere who wants to go in this industry and happen to stumble upon the podcast and say for themselves, you know what, let me try, let me try, and just to have that one spark,
Yeah.
I'm good with that. I'm so good with that
Yeah.
because they heard like industry greats like Mam Pinky
Mhm.
share a story about something extremely embarrassing that happened to her when she was auditioning. And that one person who heard the podcast, who just came out of something similarly embarrassing, and say, shit, she didn't stop. Why should I?
Yeah. Yeah. Who are you to
That's
stop?
enough. Yeah, that's enough.
Who are you to
That's
stop?
enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, ang ganda ng intensyon ng podcast na tatayo mo.
Yeah.
And will 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 this be concurrent with you being on air at Jam 88.3? Are we looking at, at a time frame that's that soon?
I think so. I
Kasi
think
yeah,
so.
kasi I think it's a really good move because you are in the arena and
Yeah.
you're actively participating in that arena while you still have, not that they're going to retire anytime soon, those fuckers like Jobim and Lambert, I don't think they're fucking going to retire anytime soon, they're fucking
Yeah.
but while you have them in the same, like, in a way you're giving them their flowers because when you ask someone about their experience, it's like you are appreciating. Simple as that. You are appreciating their struggle, their accomplishments, and everything in between.
Yeah.
So, what's the pod? Do you have a name for the podcast yet?
I do. And
What?
it's called Studio Stories.
Ah,
I gotta credit Sir Brian because he mentioned it first because I'm working on this podcast with him.
yeah,
And
yeah. He mentioned that.
hopefully when this episode comes out,
Mhm.
um, we would probably be producing it already and we'd probably be promoting it already. So
Yeah,
hopefully by then
yeah.
it can work out.
Lord
Yeah,
willing,
and
and
he coined the name of the podcast. So
that's a really good
um,
that's a really good name.
yeah,
It's
and
a really good name. Oh, way better
studio
than mine.
story.
Way
Nah,
way better than my name.
This
Yeah.
was iconic, man. This was iconic.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to give people real conversations from people who they thought were not real. Just because, this industry has a habit or has always had the glitz and the glamour and the
Mm,
premium that they place on people, similar to you. And
yeah.
I'm not just trying to deconstruct and dehumanize. I'm really trying to get to the heart of why you are where you are. Because
Yeah.
if I'm being honest, no one asked me this. But the reason why I became a radio DJ for, you know, two of the stations here in Metro Manila in the past is because they just landed on my lap. I didn't take
Yeah.
up broadcasting. I didn't take up, mass comm or anything, media related or no, nothing like that. They just
Mm.
landed on my lap. And when you're a kid, it's not like it's always been my one dream to be a DJ, but when you're a kid, you want to be a basketball player, you want to be an astronaut, you want to be a teacher, you want to be
Yeah.
a DJ. You want to be
Oh
that's
yeah.
one of the 4 or 5 things that you want to be when you're 5 or 6, right? I remember thinking that way, and that's a driving force of why I developed such a love for not necessarily broadcasting or music. I love music. Don't get me wrong, but I love conversations. I learned
Oh
to love conversations that um, are not incriminating or not crass.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a purpose to I think the purpose that we both share being in the places that we are is we want to bring value by educating the people because they've been dumbed down for too long, and now that we are
Mm.
offered an alternative medium, this is the time for us to strike.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Because
Studio story.
you know, if we have the opportunity to be here, we kind of have the responsibility to give back.
Amen. A fucking
Yeah.
men. Totoo yun. Kasi am I the only one who feels that way? I looked up to a lot of DJs, right? I'm not going to name names, but a lot of DJs have come and gone, and they've prospered. They've profited from their fame, right? And then they just fucking leave. I don't know what the fuck they're doing now, pero you feel cheated, don't you? Like when you see
Yeah.
someone, like you don't want Michael Jordan to retire, right? He did it twice, but he came back, which is, like ultimately put me in a very confused state. But with the other idols that you have or the people that you look up to, when they leave, like that's a big dent in your life, right? So
Yeah.
when that happened, like, okay, I see how this is working now. Like he wasn't always a broadcaster. He was actually rich from the beginning. I don't give a fuck about that. That's none of my business. But he was not poor. He didn't have to struggle to get to broadcasting, which was just a stepping stone for him to gain fame and endorsements. And then with the money that he got from those endorsements, he reinvested in himself, and then he just poof gone. You know what I mean? Ganon eh. And I'd be lying if I said that was not a smart move. But
Oh yeah.
I don't
Most
want
that
to.
that's a very smart move. That's a very smart move. I'll hand it to them. It's a smart move.
Yeah, man. Only if we were earning the same as they did. Bro,
Yeah.
like Direk Brian, he had like freebies. Magpaparinig lang siya dati sa radyo. Uy, magta-time check yan. Siguro mga parang
Oh yeah.
1 o'clock in the metro, ganyan eh. It's a big Brian eh. Sarap siguro magpalabok ngayon.
Oh yeah.
Sarap siguro magpalabok ngayon.
Yeah.
Sarap ngayon. Tapos may bigla na lang darating na palabok sa kanya, pare.
Ah.
Sa mall siya nagdi-DJ, di ba? Sa Vera Mall ba yun? When they still had that? Ayun.
Yeah.
So,
We don't have that anymore, dude. The radio industry's changed
like,
very much.
yeah, I'm gonna let you go in a bit, but that's one of the most important things that I wanted to know from your perspective, being in that arena. How is how is radio doing right now?
Hmm.
Because hey, you do have transparency when it comes to data and the research that AC Nielsen or Kantar does, right?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
that helps you with your next game plan. But
Hmm.
like with radio being in the state as it is right now, I don't even know what to call it because I don't know what state it's in.
Yeah. I think it's hard to assess what radio is right now as of the moment because of the pandemic.
Uh,
Because I definitely felt before the pandemic was happening that it was starting to have a rise again. You know what I mean? There was like a resurgence in interest for younger generations to be radio jocks again, to enter this industry. I'm definitely sure that there was a lot of innovation that was going to happen, and there's a lot of potential in radio for us to explore it with, because I
sure.
don't think we're even at that level where like BBC is making
Audio
on radio,
documentaries.
audio documentaries on radio.
How long do they run
Or
for? Like the
it's
full 30
interesting.
minutes?
We got to practice it when we were in school, but also very groundbreaking ways of discourse, very groundbreaking ways for us to make radio dramas and all of that. I feel like mainstream media and mainstream radio
Hmm.
still has not unlocked that kind of potential yet. So far, I can't say that I'm going to disagree with some of my mentors because some of them think that it's dying, but I definitely think that there is a lot of potential for it to evolve even more than where it is right now.
If
We
you had the
just need
right,
that one person to be stupid enough to try it,
mm,
and then all hell will break loose.
yeah, yeah. I coming from radio myself, it it would be painful to look at it that way. That that industry is dying. I do not. My brain doesn't accept it. It
Mm,
doesn't accept it.
same,
and
same.
I agree. I was gonna say when you have a group of people, a group of good people with good ideas or crazy ideas, that could propel radio to the next level. Because right now, when you look at the demographic, it's not as intact as it used to be.
Mm,
A lot of people are listening to streaming, and when you say streaming, it's either music through Spotify or it could be a podcast, wherein you
yes.
have the same production elements that radio currently offers. I think what I wanted to ask next is, is this something that's specific to the Philippines? Because if you listen to other radio stations around the world, do you have Radio Garden in your app?
No, but I do sometimes listen to like some productions
Check
from
that,
other
bro,
from
bro.
other countries.
That app, when you download that app, you'd think you were in Google Earth, right? But that globe has different like dots, like hundreds of dots all around the world. You click on one dot, you're in freaking Antigua. You click on the other dot, you're in freaking Texas. You're in Bosnia. Like it's got everything around the world. So, does it? I miss the time when people only listen to their radios, like radios talaga. The
Mm.
two-way cassettes and all that shit. Pero ngayon, um, what do you think it should do to integrate itself better into smart gadgets?
I think um, I'll have to double down on what I said and definitely think that I don't even know if double down is the right term, but
Yeah, double down is the
I'll
right
have
term.
to, yeah.
It's the right term.
We definitely need people who are brave enough to try something new. Because the reason why we have a dime a dozen of radio stations that sound the same way is because um, of the financial constraints of radio as well.
I know what you're talking about.
Because we can't deny the fact that there are advertisers, and advertisers want to hear a specific thing. And what the advertisers are pandering to are our listeners, so that they can listen more and so that they can sell better.
Yeah.
You know? And that's just being pragmatic about it. I'm not trying to shit on the industry. That's just how it is. That's how it is everywhere. But I think the reason why radio in the Philippines is going so stale is because we don't experiment enough. We don't have a lot of people changing up the environment, being brave enough to talk about certain things that will pander to a specific kind of person. You know, I think it's hard to say without being. I don't want to sound remiss, but we need people who are on oppositions to have their own radio shows, so that we can see what not to do and then do better than that.
Yeah.
And then when we see someone doing better, we find something that they're not doing properly and then do better than that and then start to experiment. Because if anything that my education's taught me is that there is so much potential for radio. And being in my school and having the very big privilege of having to have teachers and mentors who are both seasoned veterans and mad scientists in the realm of in radio.
Yeah.
I definitely think that there are so much more things that we can talk about. Like, for instance, if I'll credit the first radio station that I think that has definitely given me a voice, it would be the radio station in my school, in UP, DZUP 1602. And the kind of content that they make is not something that you'd hear in radio anywhere. If you want to hear what radio could sound like, I think you should definitely go to DZUP 1602. They have, their programming is different every day of the week and every hour.
Wow.
They have a segment for Filipino folklore.
Oh,
not a segment, a show for Filipino folklore.
Uy.
They have a show that is run by psychologists.
Wow.
Talking about our mental health.
Okay.
They have a show that talks about pets and animals.
All of those things sound really interesting to me.
Exactly, right? But we don't get to hear it. And they have such diverse kind of sound that it's frustrating to not hear it in mainstream radio.
Well, because it doesn't make anybody money.
I think so. Being very frank.
Oh, well.
It doesn't make money.
You and me both.
I don't think so.
You and me both. But, you know, how much creative juice do you have to be able to produce those kinds of shows, diba? I mean, it's just, excuse me. It would be really disheartening if I worked on that, if I was with DZUP 1602. And then, you know, after I'm done with that stint, I go into what's the next step? Okay, mainstream radio or mainstream media. And then, okay, you do a totally different thing. You stop with the stories, you stop speaking with the psychologists, you even stop talking about pets. So, parang, putang ina, para saan lahat yun? Diba?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Dude, I mean,
I hope the government hears this someday.
Yeah. One of the great things about being in such an experiment driven area like UP and like DZUP, they're not afraid to try out new concepts or segments.
Yeah.
And it's interesting what they're doing, but also sad because no one's listening. You know, there are people who listen. There are people who definitely listen and who are dedicated fans.
Yeah.
of the station.
But it's not going
But
to
I
be enough.
definitely think that there is so much more for people to hear and listen to that here in Metro Manila, for instance. The kind of things that we wish that we should be doing on radio and having the kind of meaningful conversations that we have, it's there. It's there in DZUP.
Got it.
It's a bit more academic for some people, but what if everyone started listening to that academic kind of content, and then we just eventually raise the bar for everyone, where it becomes our new normal to be a bit more academic when it comes to our radio broadcasts. We're not just there to get the ratings or things like that, but it's so punk rock.
Yeah. If you
So
were,
punk rock.
I'd like to ask you next. If you were to speak, because there are still aspirants out there who might get to listen to this podcast. I don't know what the odds are of that happening, but if you find that next person who wants to enter radio with with a fire in their belly, what kind of advice would you give that person?
Just try it out. If they have that fire to want to pursue this thing, don't be afraid of the rejection. Don't be afraid of the rejection. Try it out for yourself, and always ask yourself, will I be able to sleep if I didn't do this today? Will it affect me 10 years in the future, 5 years in the future, hell, even 3 years in the future, if I didn't take this opportunity that was given to me? And at the same time, too, keep improving on yourself. Keep reading. Don't be afraid to reinvent yourself when you need to. And just, a guy that I listened to gave this advice, and I think that's the best thing that you can do. Play to win. Don't play not to lose. Right? Go for gold all the time.
It's acting
Don't
as if...
just try to maintain. Because you will not change anything in your life if you just try to maintain things.
That's right. It's kind of conducting yourself in a way that you think and you believe that you will not lose. I have for the young ones who will be hearing this straight from a DJ who is currently on that grind. There are seniors in this industry na makikilala nila and who may not deal with them in a way that is acceptable to them, a way that is not politically correct. How did you deal with that? Because apparently you're a thinking man, you're smart, you were very conscious about what you do, where you do it, and how you do it. How did you deal with people who are or have the tendency to not be politically correct? How did you take that?
I just take things with a grain of salt for everything. I don't take it personally if they don't understand a certain situation.
Louder for the people in the back. Don't take it personally.
Don't take it personally. You have to develop thick skin if you want to be in this industry.
And also,
I say the worst things to you, do the worst things to you, which will make you feel like you're shit.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Yeah.
I think that's where you should start. Don't think that you're going to be able to avoid these things. In
They're
fact,
unavoidable.
expect them to happen.
Right.
So rather than playing on the defensive, you're playing on the offensive.
Got it.
You're thinking that it will happen. What will I do when it does? Because it's better than lying to yourself, thinking that, oh, you know what? The world is perfect and everybody's going to be PC. No.
Yeah.
No, sweetheart. sorry,
It's just not gonna happen.
people will fuck you up. People will try to fuck you up in the smallest ways.
Yeah.
And I'd rather you think that it will happen so you will never get caught off guard. But
Yes.
at the same time too, don't stop being genuine. Don't stop dreaming, and don't stop going forward and trying to achieve things.
Right.
Because it is tough. It is tough. I think that's the best advice you can tell anyone. This shit is hard. It is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you can stomach that, think about what you'll become after. Because no good thing has ever come from doing things easy.
That's right. And no thing that's worth having ever comes easy as well. I like also that it's funny that you said be as genuine as you are, because the people who don't know and the people who don't aspire to be radio DJs or be in broadcasting think that we're fake. Like, just period.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in broadcasting is fake. Everyone in media is fake. They're all trying to fuck us over. But no way.
Yeah.
There's a certain level of authenticity that is required also on a personal level that you apply locally, which is when people start telling you or giving you constructive criticism, or just or just call you out when you're fucking up, right? They can do either one of that. It takes a certain genuine person who is honest with him or herself to say, you know what, maybe I do need to work on that. Maybe there's something I'm missing here. So that
exactly.
It encourages a certain level of introspection.
Yeah.
Which will help you.
And it's when you're in this industry too, you know, you'll have to learn how to take things on your chin, because there will be punches.
Damn.
And you will definitely realize what people don't understand is that when you're in this industry, you have to be genuine, because people can tell when you're faking it.
That's right.
And one way or another, if you're faking it, it is so hard to fake it. Because there will be times that you will slip up, and then people will be turned off by anything you will do, because they'll realize that you're lying to them, or you're not maybe to them, but you're lying to yourself.
Oh, ginigimikan mo lang
People
sila.
can smell that.
Totoo.
And when you're on air, that's amplified 1,000-fold.
That's right. I'm also glad that you said that, because it's giving me, we were talking about this yesterday before we hopped on this podcast, that people are starting to be more aware of what they let into their minds. The reason why also podcasts are on the rise is because we may have gone over this quickly yesterday, but people are so smart nowadays, whereas before, they used to base your credibility solely on how you conduct yourself, how you dress, the color of your tie, how good your hair is. No, nowadays people will actually want to stay close to the pulse of what you are perpetuating, because should they see any inconsistencies? See, the thing about cancel culture nowadays is whether you've done anything in the present or in the past. It could be freaking like 15 years ago. Once that is unearthed, you, my friend, are done. So
I think the best way to handle it, Kuya Mike, is to just be honest with yourself,
right,
and own it.
Yep, that's right.
It's either you be completely genuine or you play a character.
All right, cool.
You know,
cool.
So you have the excuse if you say something like controversial, but your point is that my character is a satirical version of this kind of person.
Yep.
In a way, you kind of get away with it, because it'll be a reflection of something that you see in reality.
That's
and
right.
You put it in front of people's faces, like, do you not see how stupid this looks?
Yeah.
You know, it's what do you call this? It's kind of like the WWE when people realized that wrestling was fake, or when kayfabe died. Yeah, kayfabe died. What did wrestling do? Did it say, okay, now we're gonna do mixed martial arts because we don't want to fake it? No, dude. No. They made even better stories because now they can definitely make something that's fabricated, and they're not lying to you. They're like, even more now, do they have higher standards for the kind of stories that they're going to create?
Yeah.
Because now there's no excuse for them to say, oh, well, that wasn't scripted.
Yeah.
Now it's like, no, to the T. Everything you do, if you're going to go for a scripted route, make sure it's the best fucking scripted thing that you'll ever make.
It better be well thought out.
It better be well thought out because people, again, can smell it when you have half-baked ideas.
Yeah.
When you're behind that mic and speaking out into the world, people hear it. And I personally catch myself doing that from time to time. When I try to talk about a song, but I don't really like it.
Yeah.
That's how I started off. I would be like, wow, guys, that was interesting, And all you say is interesting? Dude, that says that you're not interested about it. And you don't care for the fuck about that fucking song.
That's true.
You'd rather be like, oh, yeah, you could just go the route that, this is a song from The Strokes. It was released in 1994. This is actually a song that was like this. These are the facts. I don't find it particularly interesting, but maybe you do. So here are some details about it.
Yep. Yeah. That
go hard or go broke.
That's right. Or, I may not like Where the Streets Have No Name as much as I do With or Without You. Those are both by you too, right?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'm still a fan of that. I'm still a fan of theirs, which is true for most radio DJs because that's why you're doing it in the first fucking place. Yeah. You're a fan of music, right?
Yeah, and at the same time too, you don't be afraid to be who you are when you're on air. For the people who are just listening to this and want to get into this industry,
preach on.
It's better to deal with the backlash of you not being accepted for things that you genuinely like, rather than playing the long game and acting like you actually like certain stuff. That is way more taxing.
You're gonna fall apart.
Yeah, you're gonna fall apart, and dude, I tried that for a while. I tried to be like, oh, I'm Mr. fucking wholesome. And it's like, I'm not fucking wholesome. I feel like shit all the time.
Yeah.
Or something of the like. If you're like that, dude, there is a person out there, most definitely, that I'm pretty sure will relate to you.
Definitely.
Talk to that person. That's
real shit.
I don't feel awesome all the time. When I have a bad day, I have a fucking bad day. And if I happen to be on air, I definitely will try my best to not sound like I have a bad day. But sometimes it makes a crack, and I'd rather just say like, guys, I haven't slept yet, so here are 3 songs. I hope you enjoy.
That's real. That's personality.
Dude.
That's personality right there.
Yeah.
Neil, who are the people that you want to make proud with everything that you're trying to accomplish?
My God, it would be my mentors. They have done so much for me, given me the opportunity to be even mentored, to be even thought of as someone with potential. It would be the likes of Sir Brian, for instance.
Amen.
Mom Pinky, my uncles, my family, my friends who just supported me all throughout this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I know it's passé, but I genuinely feel like I couldn't be here without them.
What's your fuel right now? What fuel are you running on? Like, what inspires you?
It's a mix of seeing myself improve. I think that's one. I think it inspires me to see that I came from a very dark place before, and if there's one person that I also want to make proud, it would be myself.
You've gone through so much.
Yeah, dude, and we only talked the tip of the iceberg on the podcast, but I've been through some really tough and violent stuff growing up, and it really scarred me for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And that kid who struggled so much to be just even good at something, who struggled so hard to even believe that he could be anything, I want to make that kid proud. Be like, hey, you know what? Sorry, bud, but you're wrong. Look, we're awesome now. You're doing better.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like my own personal little brother. Yeah. I mean, I have little brothers, but I feel like that kid inside me is still alive. And he's there. He's like, dude, I don't think we can do this. No, man, it's all right. We can. Okay? Trust me. I won't hurt you, and I'll get you some place that's safe, that's great, and you'll be safe there. You know?
I appreciate that you said that. Neil, before I let you go, I'd like to ask you this question. What do you imagine in everything that you've experienced, what do you imagine would be the one thing that would make you quit or stop what you're doing as a radio DJ?
If I was just an asshole, I would say the money. If someone offered me like, hey dude, here's some $2 trillion. Okay. Yeah, I think that would be my price.
It would have to be $2 trillion.
$2 trillion, maybe right. That, or maybe never. Maybe never. Maybe never. That's the reason why I chose $2 trillion is it's so impossible.
Yeah.
But I don't know, dude. I don't think I'd ever want to quit doing this. It's so cheesy to say it, but I want to say it because I feel like I wouldn't be honest with myself.
And it might be cliche, but cliches work. Cliches are true. So
I feel like I was made for this.
There you go. Because
I feel like I was made for this.
I hate it when people say it's cliche because more than the fact that cliches work, people do actually. You can't invalidate someone's feelings or emotions towards what makes them happy, and that includes your career. So if you can't invalidate it. You can't tell me to. It's like when you're telling me that something else is better, or I'm meant for something else, and you see other potential in me. It's like you are telling me that what I want isn't worth it.
Dude, I could do this for free. Yeah. I could do this thing for free.
And that's
Don't pay me.
Yeah.
I could do this for fucking free.
That's how you know that you really love it.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this has been such a meaningful conversation. I've held you back for a long time. I know you're a busy guy. How many meetings do you have in a day? Like 10, 15? It's always like a meeting. It's always like a meeting when I'm reaching out to you. And I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me tonight, Neil. Please make it happen. Studio Stories, make it happen. You have all my support. Whatever you need, man. And also with being a radio DJ, we talked about this yesterday also. You wanted to be a newscaster in the future, and I know that in your heart of hearts, you actually have a genuine love for this, no matter what the fuck everyone says. So I hope that happens for you. I know that I just know in my heart that that's gonna happen at some point in some shape, way, or form. And Pare, all the best to you. You have my respect, man.
Kuya Mike, thank you for even bringing me in this podcast. It's such an honor to be part of this show.
Pleasure's all mine, buddy. Honor's all mine.
It's so crazy. It's so freaking crazy. Yeah. And Kuya Mike, for you guys who are listeners of this show, I'm pretty sure you've caught on
all
it
three
already,
of you. All three of you. Yes.
But Kuya Mike is such a great dude who is not who's not selfish when it comes to sharing information, sharing secrets, the industry secrets, being generous with as a friend when you need to talk to him, and even like for instance, this opportunity, Kuya Mike, to be talking with you on your podcast. Honestly,
You bring
if ever you guys get a chance to meet Kuya Mike, he is such a great dude. Please
so are you.
go and make friends with him because I'm pretty sure he won't deny you that friendship.
So are you, partner. I think you just brought a lot of value to this conversation, especially for this episode, because I don't think I've ever spoken, well, aside from Carlos Franco from FM1 way back. That was, I think, episode 7 we're at already. Jesus Christ, we're already at 25. You're the only other DJ that I've spoken to who has gone on record and has shared with us everything that you've witnessed so far, being in the broadcasting space. You know how it's true when it's not all you know it's not all beautiful things, because you also dropped some hard truths that people would have to face at some point if they are to find themselves in the same industry. So for that, I really, really, really appreciate you, man. And how do you feel about a part 2 sometime in the future, like soon, within this year? Because
Dude,
I think, yeah, you're right. We barely touched. We're at the tip of the iceberg right now.
yeah.
How do you feel about
Uh,
that?
oh, dude, anytime, Kuya Mike.
Talaga?
Anytime.
Talaga, ha?
Of
Pucha,
course.
kapag hindi ka na bumalik dito, ipi-play ko to ulit para sa'yo. Tapos, oh, sinabi na to! Sinabi na to! Yeah, man. So, pare, all the best to you, my guy. Again,
Mike, if I was there where you are right now, you know how we are. I'd just hug you, man, and just like, ah,
and say, fuck this virus.
yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, and yeah, we'll be back for episode 26. That has been Mr. Neil Caronan of Jam 88.3. Shit, na-plug ko pa for free. God damn it. One last thing before we go. Good morning.
Morning show.
The morning show.
Monday to Thursday.
Is from Mondays to Thursdays, and they are on from 10 a.m. to 10:30. I wish you guys ran it for at least an hour, because it's such a fun bunch. Jobim, you got Candy, and you got Steven, right?
Yeah.
So you can't go wrong with that concoction right there.
Yeah.
But all the best.
If you guys, I'll just plug also. If you guys want to follow us, it's at Jam 883.
Yes,
so
yes, please do that.
Cross plugging. On this podcast. Of course, we have a lot of new music every Mondays. We also have locals only. So if you guys are like aspiring musicians, most definitely send your demos to localsonlyph@gmail.com. There is a chance for you to be played on air on radio. And if you guys want to follow me on my Instagram, I guess, or on Facebook, it is at Neil D. Caronan, NEILDCARONAN.
Yes, and he means it, because he spelled his name out with his eyes closed. He means it. Really seriously, if you want to follow a good guy on Instagram, no flash, all realness, man. Follow this guy. He's a good friend of mine, and I will always be proud of that. Thank you so much, Neil.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, guy. Yeah. So again, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.